Recording in progress.
Good morning, world, and everybody in this building. I am so happy to be home and so happy to be well, and I welcome you all to this beautiful, wet Sunday in the last weekend of April. Thank you for being here, and I hope that you are all having a wonderful week. Jeanette Larson is a guest and a guest speaker today, so I'm sure we'll be looking forward to hearing what she has to say. Everybody else is here, and we have a prelude by Margaret. He's Everything to Be by Ralph Carmichael. Margaret? 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 Okay. Play that again several times for us in the future. I love that. That was beautiful.
Yeah,
and
you played that very joyously.
Oh, thanks.
Okay. We have our wonderful Susan Barnes from Belize, Central America, on with us, and she is going to do our opening prayer. Welcome, Susan.
Good morning. So you have the water, we have the heat. And all things are in divine order, one way or another. So let's close our eyes and invite that divine spirit to flow in through us. Creator, Mother, Father, God, we give thanks for this day and for all the wonderful things that you have brought to us. We give thanks for our health. We give thanks for our friends and for our family. We give thanks this day for being able to see all things through your eyes, knowing that all things are a part of you. And since you are all love, then everything is love. We just need to see it differently. All things help us to grow and to mature into a way of living and giving and finding peace within ourselves. And through this, we can radiate out all of the love that you have flowing through us. We give thanks today also for the abundance that is given to each one of us. Our abundance of wisdom, of knowledge, our abundance in finances, our abundance in things that help to make our lives more peaceful, more loving. And so we ask now to be able to give back to others what you have given to us, our life, our love, all the wonderful things that do surround us. For all these things, we truly give thanks. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Susan. I do appreciate your way with words. I really do. Okay, we have a book, a song from the binder book, in the brown book, number 114, Sunlight, as in S-O-N.
Sunlight where there seem to be shadows. Sunlight where there seem to be rain. Sunlight where there seem to be sorrow. Sunlight where there seem to be pain. Sunlight is the truth of my nature. Sunlight is God shining through me. Sunlight where there seemed to be darkness. Sunlight where the clouds seem to be. I let my light shine and the obstacles vanish. I let my light shine and the light casts out fear. I let my light shine and the radiance heals me. I let my light shine and my way is made clear. Sunlight is the truth of my nature. Sunlight is God shining through me. I let my light shine and my world is illumined. I let my light shine and the clouds set me free.
Thank you, Margaret. Beautiful. Okay, if you will read along with me, a reflective moment. Love produces a flow of energy that I now feel. I love others more than ever, and I feel privileged to be here. Love flows from one person to another as we create an atmosphere of holiness, and so it is. And Kate, will you do a spiritual treatment?
All right, so I'd like everybody to stand. We're going to do a Qigong exercise. We're going to gather chi. And you have room there for your arms. You guys yeah, you can stay just like that. And so what we're going to do is I am going to do a wei chi, and then we're going to follow with a waterfall, and then we're going to take the 3 deep breaths of cleansing ourselves, gathering ourselves, and on the last 3 breaths in, we will send out all of the chi that we've created to those in our community and in our lives that are open to receiving more chi. Everything that's beneficial to them, we want to go out to them. And remember, also, we're going to be smiling. So when you activate this, when you smile, you activate a nerve. It's called a vagus nerve. And it's really beneficial for all of our organs, to keep our organs healthy, for our breathing, for our lungs, everything. So, all right, here we go. I'll let you do that. Okay. So we're going to start with gathering chi from the ground. Don't worry. So there's a lot of breathing that goes with this. Don't worry about the breathing right off unless you already know how to do it. So we're going to gather chi, bring it up, push it down. Gathering chi for the benefit of all of those in our lives. One more. Remember to smile. We're going to follow with the waterfall. Stand with our hearts, our hands over our heart chakra, taking 3 deep cleansing breaths. And now with these next 3 breaths, in with love and out with healing and love and light. Don't forget to smile and send a color. Send a color with it. Sending out chi to all who are open and able to receive. Our hearts in prayer position. Valerie, I thank you for creating chi.
Thank you, Kate. Beautiful. I love throwing in a little qigong with that. Yes, a little chi and qigong with
You
that.
like throwing chi around?
Yes.
And normally we do this for benefit of other people on our request list, which George Harris is one of them. And we have lost communication with George. He went into, which hospital?
VA.
No, not the VA. No, Loveless. There we go. And then they released him to some sort of rehab place, and we have not been able to get a hold of him since then. So let's a little extra for George. Thank you.
Okay. And also for Joyce Hedrick, she had bowel surgery a couple of weeks ago. Well, not even that long, about a week and a half ago. And she is in across the street from the hospital. I think it's San Juan Rehab, yeah. Anyway, but she's in there for a little while. We're hoping to get her to move to Wellbrook, but right now she's in there recuperating, but slowly. She had an emergency session. So blessings to both those people that they get better soon. Okay. Huh? She had an obstructed bowel and it burst. And they had to go in and remove about 13 inches of her colon. Okay. Special music. Breathe on me, breath of life. Oh, we have a choir today. How nice.
A little choir.
How lovely. Okay.
Yes.
Do we get to sing along?
Yes.
Okay.
By all means, the words are in the bulletin.
Kate, I know I tell you this lots, but you need to wear red lots. You look so good in it.
But remember what the girls said when they did their color thing?
Yeah.
When people wear red, it's mostly because they're angry.
That's not true. That's a winter color, actually.
Uh-huh.
You're a winter person.
Oh, well, there you go.
I used to do.
She wears red too.
The Holy Spirit? I did not know that.
There you go. See? So no anger involved. Okay.
Yes, we're ready.
Breathe on me, oh God. Make me awake, aware that I might find love with for me to know and share. Breathe on me, breath of God, until my life is free, until my heart and mind and will respond as one with thee. Breathe on me, breath of God, till all my thoughts are gone, till all this heart and mind and will respond as one. Breathe on me, breath of God, till truth is fully sown, till in thy earthly part of me grows well as Beautiful. Thank you. Haven't heard you guys sing in a while. You did. You know, if you'd walk over that way and use that railing, it works wonders. Sorry. I don't know. Just you had me a little worried there when you stepped off that step.
The railing that he installed and moved and everything.
Well, I was going to reach out and give him a hand, but. Okay. Thank you very much for the music and the choir. And now we have Shay doing a spiritual reading for us. She's going to read out of that letters from the lady, and I love those. I think they're beautiful. And that's one of those things we need to discuss at our board meeting is get back on track with our spiritual readings. Do you want me to hold it for you?
I got it.
Okay.
This is from Elizabeth Gilbert, her weekly letters from love. The question today is, Dear Love, what would you have to know today about changing my mind? Dearest little thread of light, we know you. We know you so well, and we love you so dearly, and we know the shame that you carry for thinking that you have changed your mind too often in life, that you are flaky, unstable, unpredictable even to yourself, that you are the ultimate flight risk, that you have been that terrible sinful thing.
unreliable. And your mind wants to accuse and punish you. Why can't you stay with anyone? Why can't you stay in one place? Why can't you just have stick-to-itiveness and stick it out through conflict, through difficulty? Why do you always bolt? Why can't you be more like your stalwart Swedish and Puritan ancestors who just gritted their teeth and dug in and faced life on life's terms? Why are you so capricious? But look what happens in the very next instant. What's the new thought train coming around the bend? Why, it's your mind again, changing its role from prosecutor to defense attorney, now wanting to defend itself against itself. How dare you accuse me of being unreliable and changing my mind too much? Your mind demands of your mind. Look at all the things I have stuck with. Look at all my decades-long friendships. Look at my lifelong commitment to writing. Look at the people I show up for. Look how much I honor my deadlines and my social contracts. And so the show begins, dear. Not the show, the trial. Well, the show trial, actually. The show trial of the ego in which both sides of the mind bring all their evidence to a non-existent courtroom to stand in front of a non-existent jury and judge, who are also aspects of your mind, and to argue to the bitter end, the case of whether or not you are a good, decent person. And all of that got triggered by one simple question. What would you have me know today about changing my mind? In all that scrabbling and accusing and defending and prosecuting, you haven't even taken a quiet breath in which to listen to us. Where is love in all this shame and protection, embarrassment and argument? Sweetheart, be still for a moment and listen. Love is here. Love is right here waiting for your beautiful attention. Let the show trial end and let us answer what you asked. This is what we want you to know about changing your mind. The mind changes. That's what a human mind does. It's not a bug, it's a feature. Somewhere along the way, you received an idea that the mind isn't supposed to change. Maybe indeed you picked this up from your Swedish and Puritan ancestors, whom you quite mistakenly perceive as having been far more stoic and serious than they perhaps were. Or maybe you picked it up in your meditation studies, some idea that the mind should be, as some Buddhists say, like a flame burning in a windless place, fixed, steady, and that the highest virtue is to be a stalwart, stoic, unchanging being. But did we ever say that? Have you ever heard the words stalwart or stoic from us? For that matter, have we ever made any mention of caring the slightest about the word virtue? Love embraces things as they are, and so we embrace that human mind of yours, that changeable thing, not so much a flame in a windless place, but a flame that sometimes dances brightly, sometimes dims, sometimes leaps from ridge to ridge in the high winds of creativity, inspiration, transformation, reversal. A wildfire mind sometimes that can destroy and create at the same time. Fascination, that's how we see your ever-changing mind. To us, it is fascinating to behold. We don't need you to be any other way than what you are, dearest. We've said this before, but it bears repeating from now till God leaves Chicago, as your old friend Iyanla used to say. We do not need you to be any other way than what you are. Anything that demands you to be different is not love, could not be love. We do not need your past to be any cleaner than it has been. We do not need your choices to have led to any other outcomes than to where they have led. And we know something too about all those promises you may have made in the past that it turned out you could not keep. We know how earnestly you believed them when you were making your vows and assurances. We know how sincerely you wanted to believe that it was true, whatever it was that you were emphatically insisting would never change. Oh, tender child, can't you see the beauty in that? Can't you see the thing that is actually our favorite word, far preferable to those brickbat concepts of stoic and stalwart? Can't you see your own innocence? Over the years, your mind has innocently made many promises that your heart could not keep, or that reality eventually blew to smithereens. But was there ever the faintest bit of malice in those promises you made? You believed it all. You wanted to believe that you would never change, that things would never change. And while we are on the subject of innocence, remember all those people who made promises to you that they ended up not being able to keep because their minds changed? Remember the feeling of appalled betrayal that ran through your veins? Guess what? They are innocent too. They wanted, or at least some part of them wanted, to believe the words they said, the assurances they gave. Do you remember the wise and heartbreaking thing that an ex-partner said to you once when you were crying to him? But you promised you would always be there for me. He said so simply, so honestly, that it moved you deeply, even in your devastation. That might be a promise, it turns out, I can't keep. These words were so sacred because they were true. From our perspective, the light of God shines through that in its holy humility. It is so human, so precious and mortal to make promises you cannot keep. This is not a reality deserving punishment and condemnation, but rather something to bow down before in beautiful, surrendered honesty. Can you forgive? Can you forgive your own changeable mind and the changeable minds of others? Can you surrender into your own innocence? Because we know you. We know each and every flickering, dancing one of you, and we love you. We love you for exactly how it is, how it was, how it will ever be, and how inevitably it could never be. And if you are looking for something that is a flame in a windless place, there it is. Our love, our infinite, unwavering love, which will never, no matter how much you change or do not change, leave you. And yes, that's a promise. Let's keep going.
Thank you, Shay. Beautiful. I love that lady's writings. I really do. Okay, and we have a song from Margaret, number 346 in the brown book. I'm ready for a miracle.
I'm ready for a miracle, ready for a miracle. I'm ready for a miracle today. I've got my mind in tune for one, ready to experience one. I'm ready for a miracle today. My mind is open, ready to receive it. My heart is open, open all the way. I do accept a miracle, do accept a miracle. I do accept a miracle today. I do receive a miracle, do receive a miracle. I do receive a miracle today. I'm ready for a miracle, ready for a miracle. I'm ready for a miracle today. I've got my mind in tune for one, ready to experience one. I'm ready for a miracle today. My mind is open, ready to receive it. My heart is open, open all the way. I do accept a miracle, do accept a miracle. I do accept a miracle today. I do receive a miracle, do receive a miracle. I do receive a miracle today.
Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
It is my great pleasure to welcome somebody that I've only met recently, and I managed to miss when her husband was here. Jeanette and her husband Larry, I met through Mike Rose, and it's been a real blessing to experience them and to have them join us here occasionally. And I hope that you all appreciate the message Jeanette is going to share with us on the transformation of grief. And I kind of set these up for you so you can have a little bit of a rise to it, okay? And let me put this on you so we can all hear you. Let's see, I'm going to do it this way. Right here, it has to be kind of close to your mouth. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I found in my 60 years young of wisdom that every day I wake up is a miracle, right? And it's a privilege. I'm finding, along with the new aches and pains, that it's a privilege to be growing old. Not everybody gets that opportunity. So that's what's been being revealed to me lately. This morning I'd like to open with just one verse of Psalm 23, which I'm sure many of you have heard at memorial services, right? The Lord is my shepherd. The verse I'm going to focus on is, "Yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I will not fear, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I will not fear." Have you ever been caught in a crisis in your past, maybe much younger, when you felt caught in fear? Have you ever longed from a sign from God or the heavens or the universe that everything's going to be okay? I know it's challenging to turn on the news these days and not feel paralyzed or anxious. Some of us who are highly sensitive can't even watch the news. I read my news because everything's so based on fear. And that's not what I want to experience in this world. So whether we feel any kind of fear or anxiety today, I'm sure we can relate to this experience. It's very, very human. And when we feel fear, we do sometimes feel immobilized or incapacitated, but how do we move through that? How do we transform, especially when grief hits us hard? I'd like to share a personal story with you that shaped my life very, very definitively. One of my greatest times of doubt and fear happened 17 years ago to me in March of 2009. During this time, my life was static yet very busy. I was substitute teaching regularly. I had 2 children of my own in high school and college. I'd married my spouse, Larry, 4 years earlier at this time, and we were living the dream on 5 acres of land 40 minutes away from Olympia, Washington. One night before I went to bed, I noticed a voicemail from one of my best friends who'd I'd known since high school, Laura. Now, this was nothing new, as Laura and I spoke on the phone several times a week. Our lives were similar. We had married the same year in our first marriages at the tender age of 19. Both of us had divorced, unfortunately, 15 years later, and we both had 2 children of similar ages who were closer than biological cousins. We also married new spouses within a year's time. The message was, "Hey, just wondering how you're doing. Give me a call back when you find time." I decided not to call back that evening because it was almost 10 p.m. and I was sleepy, but her phone message still haunts me to this day. The next morning, probably around 10 a.m., her spouse John called me saying, Laura was killed in an auto accident this morning on her way to work. I was in complete shock. What? What do you mean? He slowly explained the details of her spinning on ice and another car hitting her. In numbness, I gathered my children and our suitcases to travel the 300 miles across from Western Washington to Eastern Washington to be with her children. And I kept asking God, why? Why? Laura's mother, when I met with her, asked me to do her eulogy. And that week, I had to move quickly through the stages of grieving, of anger, of bargaining, of depression, and finally acceptance as I stood in front of her family and friends in church. My spouse and I sang the hymn, "In the bulb there is a flower." And as we sang the third verse with the words, "In our death, a resurrection," I lifted my eyes to the top of the sanctuary, which there were windows, and the light just started pouring in. And I felt a glimmer of her presence. And I felt Laura with the presence of God. Sudden death can hit us hard. Where do we go from those type of experiences? This journey varies from person to person to be ready to live into the resurrection of new life and new ways of being. I appreciate the country music song, "Live Like You Were Dying." I don't know if you're familiar with Tim McGraw, but he spoke of a man in his 40s who was diagnosed with terminal illness. And he sang, "I loved deeper, and I spoke sweeter, and I gave forgiveness I'd been denying. I was finally the husband that most of the time I wasn't, and I became a friend would like to have. And all of a sudden going fishing wasn't such an imposition. And I went that year 3 times with my dad. And I finally read the good book, and I took a good, long, hard look at what I'd do if I could do it all again. One of my favorite books a friend gave me over 10 years ago is an autobiography by his friend Lynn Massey, who was diagnosed with breast cancer, who was only given 2 years to live. She fought the cancer and is a survivor, thankfully, but her story is how the tragedy and gift of cancer transformed her into a person who lives in sync with her soul. The following is part of what she's learned. She says, "I've learned that all the people I encounter are trying to do the best they can at any given moment to make it through this journey called life in the only way they know how. Status, money, wealth, and outward appearances are meaningless. Everyone, regardless of material trappings, is equal in the need for acceptance and love. Once a month," she says, "I cook and serve a meal for 125 homeless men and women who before cancer I used to avoid. People I used to refer as those people. And now I'm honored to have a chance to serve. I now see them as people struggling to live. I speak to them, I hear their stories. We laugh together and I enjoy seeing who they are inside. Beating cancer is looking it in the eye and still being able to laugh. It's opening my mind to possibilities I usually don't see. It's recognizing mastectomy can't make me ugly. Like the Velveteen Rabbit, ugly is possible only to those who don't understand. I've learned length of life is inconsequential. What matters is the quality of the journey. Cancer in my life became not the enemy, but the teacher. A great life principle to realize for us is that there is death and there is life. There are goodbyes and there are hellos. And the deaths we pass through aren't just our final physical death, but rather the many deaths and goodbyes we encounter in life. The death of how we want things to be in some way. shape, or form. A loss of something or someone we have an attachment to. Something in ourselves that needs to die and be transformed. These deaths prepare for us in our final letting go of life in this world. So in a sense, learning how to die or how to say goodbye is one of the most important formation pieces, I believe, where we transform grief into growth. Fear is a common condition for humans. And we could say that fear and anxiety are demons of our lives psychologically. How would it feel to take a deep breath and release fear to God completely? I loved it when we did Tai Chi. That act of breathing is an act of just letting go. I have a regular practice of doing Yochi, and it really, really helps with anxiety. I love it. In 12-step programs, they speak of surrender. Richard Rohr, one of my favorite authors, says the surrender of faith does not happen in one moment, but on an extended journey, a trust walk, a gradual letting go, unlearning and handing over. To finally surrender ourselves to healing, we must open our opinionated heads, our closed-down heart, and our defensive body. Honestly, says it takes major surgery and much of one's life to get head, heart, and body to put down their defenses, their false programs for happiness, and their many forms of resistance to what is right in front of them. This is the whole conversion process. Step 3 is a radical surrendering of our will to a higher power whom we trust more than ourselves. Surrender is a decision to unfold oneself into the care of God. In her book, Present Over Perfect, Shauna Niequist reflects, it's about learning to show up and let us just be seen as we are, massively imperfect, weak, wild, and flawed in 1,000 ways, but still worth loving. It's about realizing that what makes our lives meaningful is not what we accomplish, but how deeply and honestly we connect with the people in our lives. How wholly we give ourselves to the making of a better world through kindness and courage. I invite you to listen to one of my favorite true stories from Chicken Soup for the Soul called The Ties That Bind. The author says, in 1973, when my dad retired, a new chapter in my parents' lives began. My mom continued to care for the house and tended to her beautiful yard, and my dad took care of their backyard garden. Every day when it was time for their snack, my mom would go into the kitchen, make themselves something to eat, and set the table for two. She would go into the living room and gently say, "Come on, Pa, coffee's ready." And the two of them would sit down together to eat and talk about their grandchildren. As the years went by and they neared their 80s, a noticeable change occurred with my dad. We watched Alzheimer's slowly devour every bit of his life and dignity. But my mom continued to care for him until she had a stroke. After rehabilitation, she walked with a quad cane, but still insisted on caring for her husband. She would slowly get to the kitchen, set the table for two, prepare a snack, and say, "Come on, Pa, coffee's ready." This went on for 2 more years. A short time before their 61st wedding anniversary, my mom told us of a vision she had one evening. There was a beautifully set table for two. A week later, they had to admit my father to a nursing facility, and my mom moved in with my sister. 1 month later, my mom became very sick. On the night before she passed away, all through the evening, she kept thrashing and holding up 2 fingers. The next day, she passed and was buried 3 days later. That evening, the nursing home called us to say my dad had passed away. It was evident to me that the 2 fingers my mom kept holding up had to be that she was telling God that she needed a table for 2. Once again, she had gone ahead and made sure that the beautiful table she spoke to us about was set for two. And then she called him to say, "Come on, Pa, coffee's ready." Are you experiencing any kind of deep grief right now? I pray the Spirit will comfort you through your time of sorrow. And I invite you to listen right now for all those who are grieving, a prayer called Grief and Loss by Joyce Roop. She calls it Companion of the Sorrowing. Bind your love strongly, fiercely to the memories of my loved one that are stored within me. May they never wear out when death grows distant. I want to forever honor and cherish the goodness of my loved one's life. Guardian of the grieving, lift up my sad heart. Let me find laughter in the midst of my loss. Let me find hope in the midst of my sadness. Let me find comfort in the midst of my emptiness. Let me find meaning in the midst of my confusion. Let me find you, ever vigilant, beloved one, as my shelter and my solace. Sustain my aching heart. Amen. Transforming grief is difficult but very holy work. It evolves us spiritually if we are willing to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Laura's transition from life to eternal life transformed me within myself, knowing how precious and fragile life is, and to be thankful every day for being alive. Laura's death forced me to look at my own life and to make the decision to apply to graduate school and to go to seminary. I'd like to share with you one of my favorite poems. I'm sure you've heard it, but it just reminds us to take joy in every day and reevaluate where we are and to transform our lives. Mary Oliver, the famous poet, wrote "The Summer Day." Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who's flung herself out of the grass, the one who's eating sugar out of my hand, who's moving her jaws back and forth instead of up and down, who's gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face, and now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I've been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? May the Spirit take these words for all of us and transform our hearts into lives that are thankful and for healing. Because to be human is to hurt. And we are here for each other, to support each other, to connect with one another, and to lift one another up. I believe that is the most important thing we're here on earth for. So thank you again for having me.
Thank you, Jeanette. Thank you very much. This one. Those chords there are tribute.
Right. Thank you.
But thank you very much. You know, it's really a shame that we wait until disaster or something like that hits us to change the way that we live, the way that we approach people. And that is one thing that fellowship totally believes in, is forgiveness and compassion and love first and always. And let go of the need to compare and to judge. And it's such a shame to me that people wait so long to do that and then try to make up for it in the last 6 weeks. So Thank you very much for sharing that with us, and you are a blessing. And I hope you'll come back and talk to us again sometime. I appreciate that. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to say to Jeanette?
That was very lovely. We appreciate you. Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you very much. And we have a song. Number 359. Oh, yes, I love this. We make our own world. We make our own world wherever we are. Our happiness is of our own making. We make our own world wherever we are. Our happiness is for the taking. Our world goes with us, as we walk and talk along. The world can be a heaven or hell, our attitudes will say. We make our own world wherever we are. Let's make it happy, let's make it beauty. We make our own world wherever we are. Let's make it happy. We make our own world.
More time.
We make our own world wherever we are. Our happiness is about taking. We make our own world wherever we are. Our happiness is Let's make it happy. Let's live in beauty. We make our own world wherever we are. We make it happy. We make it our world. Awesome. Thank you, Margaret. My favorite thought. Oh, there it is, okay. If you will join me in our celebration of abundance. When I find there they are, okay. Hold your donations over your heart and repeat with me. Divine love flowing through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, all that I receive. Through infinity, I am prosperous, as we are, yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we don't have any children today. Rhonda and Mark are having an addition built on the back of their house, and there's this dumpster the length of this room in my parking lot, and they're busy trying to fill it up today with all the yard waste and the construction debris. And of course it's raining. Rhonda said, all in divine order. I was meant to have my hair rinsed in rainwater. So that's a blessing. And we have our wonderful Bill Clark to give us our words out of here.
All right, either hold it.
I'll guard it.
Good morning, everyone. Topic today is strength of momentum. The first step binds us to the second, a French proverb. Momentum is the amazing force. Once we begin a project, it creates its own energy and we keep it at it. Once we take a risk and introduce ourselves to a new person, the conversation tumbles out and evolves into a new friendship. When we face a challenge and try a few ways to overcome it, the solution suddenly becomes clear. The hardest part is simply beginning, choosing direction, and then taking the first step. After that, it's easier to discern the next move, and it's even easier to adjust our course once we are in motion. The walkaway is, the first step is always the most daunting. I know I'll feel more confident, and the next step will be much clearer once I begin. If you're like me, you're probably a procrastinator.
I would
Once you-
not say that about you.
Once you get your first step going, hopefully you can make it there to the end of the fitness line. Y'all have a great week.
Is this
God
the guy in his
bless.
boot?
See you guys in a couple weeks. I'm going to be in Dollywood next week.
If you will all join me up here, we will sing our way out of here. Yeah, we'll play cards too. Okay. Thank you all for being here. And Jeanette, thank you for visiting with us. We hope to see you again. And hope you all have a blessed week, and all of you on, oh, they're gone. They left us, okay.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Terry. You did really good. As always. Uh-huh.
I've got a few babies. That book that I gave you, I don't know if he wants it back